the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
All right, y'all, we're here. We're live. You're watching Buster Unmasked. It's Wednesday. Got an awesome show today for you guys, but y'all know the drill. Look, like this video, share this video, and go to Buster H.R. Johnson on YouTube and subscribe. Look, guys, got an awesome show tonight. My guest tonight got a duo. Look, man, Danny Ice is one of the most outspoken guys around our area. He's a veteran of the ring wars around our area. And these two, man, I'll be honest with you, they remind me of Bonnie and Clyde. He's an outlaw, and she's his ride or die. Without any further ado, I bring to you Danny Ice and Linzee Wyld. Guys.
What's up, Buster?
What's up, y'all?
Not a lot, man. Just enjoying the going on.
Dude, it's a pleasure to have you guys here. Danny, what it took us about 2 extra weeks to actually get here, but we're here now.
Hey, we're here. We always show up.
There you go. Got Linzee Wyld by your side, the lovely Linzee Wyld. Like I said, you two are like Bonnie and Clyde around here of the wrestling business, man. You're an outlaw, you're a rebel, and she is too. So talk to me about how both. Now, look, tonight a lot of these questions will be two-part questions. One for you, one for her. Same question. So let's just start out at the beginning, Danny. How did you get into this crazy-ass wrestling business, man?
Well, to make a very long story short, that would take all night to tell. maybe a couple extra episodes. I grew up loving professional wrestling. I fell in love with professional wrestling at a very young age. My brother, he passed on back in 2007. He used to take me to every show around. Back the old NWA shows. He used to take me down to Memphis to Mid-South. We'd go up Cape Girardeau to WWE shows, WCW, NWA, all of the independent shows around our local area up in Illinois. Where I'm from.
Right.
And I just fell in love with it from day one. And then I met some guys who knew some guys. You know, it's who you know, who they know, and so on and so on.
That's the wrestling business, man.
Right. You know, and I had mentioned, to them that, I'd always wanted to be a professional wrestler. Well, my mom started getting older and in really bad health. And she always told us kids, you can do any damn thing you want to do in life. You just have to go do it and don't let nothing stop you. So it all started there. And I'm going to mention a name that I met way back in the early days. That was a huge help to me and helped me a whole lot. And that was Big Bull Bronson. And he wasn't even Bull Bronson then. He was a baby bull back
Right.
then. But that guy, he helped me a lot in the beginning. And he actually helped make me the outlaw that I've become.
Wow. So how old were you when you actually started training for the business?
Well, I'm 48 now. 86, about 24, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, 23, 24 years old.
Okay. Well, Lindsay, kind of the same question for you. How did you discover pro wrestling, and how did you get in this crazy ass business?
Well, I remember when I was little, my uncle wrestled, and he'd always turn the TV on at my grandma's house. It'd always be wrestling. He'd wrestle with this little boy, my cousin, and through the years, I wasn't real big into it. Like, I didn't watch it a lot growing, as I got older. And then there was a time period where I would watch it every Monday night.
Right.
Probably in my late teens, early 20s. I actually met him at Swag, and he just loved it so much. And years passed as we've been together, and I just thought, he loves it, and it's pretty cool. Like, I just jumped in, and I thought about, I'd love to be a manager and stuff, and so I just kind of jumped in, and I've been training and in-ring training and all that, and so
let me ask you this. I'm assuming Danny had a big hand in training you.
yeah.
Okay. Well, Danny, let's jump back to you for a second. Who actually trained you to get in the wrestling business, man?
Well, long story. A lot of names here. Bull Bronson had a big hand in the beginning. But a guy that I credit a lot as well is a guy I spent a lot of time with, Tracy Smothers.
Oh, yes.
I learned my psychology from Tracy. A little is enough. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to give them everything.
There you go.
Placing things to where they make sense. That all came from Tracy. Pops drilled that into all of us boys, myself, Gavin Alexander, and several of us who was around about that time.
Right.
Of course, there was guys like Wyld Danny. He's the one, he's from up in Illinois, Central Illinois. He worked that area. He's retired now. He had some health problems. But he actually broke me into learning how to make hardcore make sense. To where you can actually work Extreme Rules matches and have psychology in those matches, and it not just be swinging weapons for the hell of it.
Right. And look, Tracy Smothers, genius at this business. Psychology off the charts, understands what pro wrestling's really about. It's all psychology. That's really all pro wrestling is.
That's all it is.
Up here, man. Logic and psychology, and you can get it done, How old were you how long did you train before you actually had your first match?
Well, I trained for, actually, that back then, it wasn't like it is today. You know that.
Right.
Today, kids train for a month or two, then they throw them in the ring, and they let them start working. They start putting championships on them, and boom, there goes the ego, and they think they're God's gift to the wrestling business when they're really nothing.
Right.
I trained for a year and a half before I had my first match.
See,
and my first match wasn't a one-on-one or a tag team. It was a battle royal.
Dude, we may be twins. I trained for a year. Right at a year. Actually, it might have been slightly over a year before I had my first match. My first match was a battle royal in Joyner, Arkansas, or someplace like that, man. So we may be twins. So Linzee, Danny trained you. How long did they have you trained before you actually got to get out on the floor and do something?
As a manager, it was probably a few months. But the thing is she's been around it for years, sitting and learning from me, talking and learning things, learning the business from outside the business.
Right.
I can't remember a lot of things, so if I sit here, I'm like,
well,
that goes to remember.
That goes a long way, though. I mean, if you're kind of, even though you wasn't actually out on the floor, you still kind of in the business because Danny was in the business. And you, if you pay attention and listen, you'll learn a lot, man.
Yeah.
A lot of times, people like that who are around it a long time before they decide they want to get into it, a lot of times they are a lot further ahead when they decide to get into it up here. They kind of understand what the goal is. And
I've noticed that a lot with her, you know, because a lot of people say, well, she's only been managing for what, 2 years?
Well, for 2 years.
For 2 years, you know, she needs to be sitting down and shutting up. Yet she will notice things that even I overlooked and didn't notice, and she'll point them out to me. And I'm like, yeah, you need to say something, you know, because if that didn't make sense, someone needs to know that didn't make sense. Right. Because, you know, that attaboy mentality in a lot of locker rooms is why a lot of shows are shit show mud shows anymore, in my opinion, because it's, hey, that was great. That was a banger. No, it wasn't. You know?
Right. Right, exactly. You look, Mark McGee's with us. He says, good evening, y'all. Mark, good to have you with us, man. I'm glad you made it home safe. It was good to see you Saturday night in Missouri. Can't wait for you to get back down. We got Team Grant Outdoors. Come on, Jamie J. You just gonna do a cheap plug, huh? You ain't brought. He said August 3rd, Wrestling in Wynn, Arkansas. Cheap plug, LOL. Right, 100 Wrestling, Wynn, Arkansas. August the 3rd, cheap plug. All right, Jamie, send me my check, man. Send me my check, dude. So look,
Mark needs to make his way over here.
Man, he came to, I think it was at Osceola last Friday, and in Missouri at AHCW Saturday. Them
boys are tearing it up in Osceola.
Dude, Osceola's on fire. Missouri, every show, there's been 3 shows back for HCW. Every one of them over 200 people in the crowd, close to 300. Nice. Really been tearing it up, man. Jamie J's back. He said, laughing my ass off. So look, like I said at the start, you're super outspoken, and let's talk about that a boy mentality, Danny. Let's discuss that for a second. It's rampant. When I here's the thing, when I broke in the business, nobody cared about your feelings. They told you what you needed to know, and they didn't care whether it hurt your feelings or not. Pro wrestling, in my opinion, does not care about your feelings. And that's what's wrong with a lot of the business today, in my opinion, just because of that a boy mentality. Yes, it was a great match. No, if it wasn't a good match, don't tell somebody it was. Now, if it was, tell them. Say, man, that was a fucking awesome match. But if it sucked, be honest. And then try to tell them, if you're a veteran and you've seen stuff, try to tell them why. You know, because it's a hard business out here, and I feel like it's done got soft, Danny. So what's your thoughts and your opinions on that situation, man?
I think a lot of people coming into the business today are catered to. They're pampered. They're like pets. They become friends with their trainer. And it's okay to form a brotherhood or a sisterhood with your trainer. But my trainer never was my best friend. My trainer was there to do a job.
Right.
And the problem today is all these, I'm not going to say all, because it's not all. There's some young guys breaking into the business. Dwayne Cashman, hell of a young talent. Hell of a young talent. I had Robert Murray, hell of a young talent.
Right.
Charlie Kingston, hell of a young talent.
Unlimited potential with, here's the thing, all 3 of those guys could have unlimited potential in this business, man.
Yep. I tell you who else I like. I just wish he would slow down a little bit. He may be watching. Hey, Hey, Bubba, slow down. D-Lo. I love D-Lo. I
Man,
just wish he'd slow down and save his body a little bit.
D-Lo, man. Look, man, I used to record at EIW all the time, and D-Lo, man, when he is on 100%, he is
He's on.
absolutely, yes, he is absolutely one of the very best talents around our area, bar none. What I like about D-Lo, he's a small guy, and he can do all the flying stuff. But man, his stuff is snug. When he's in the ring
Yes.
wrestling, it's snug. It's almost stiff at times, but it looks good. I mean, hell of a talent, dude. Hell of a talent.
You know, that attaboy thing going on that we was talking about. You just mentioned being snug. You know, if you're too snug with some of these young guys today, they start thinking you're shooting on them. You know, that they whine, bitch, and moan.
Right.
You know, I was working with guys like Bull Bronson. You know, you knew that he'd been there. You know, big old boy, hell of a talent. You know, I've never seen a big man move like Big Bull Bronson. And you knew you'd been in a match when you was in the ring with Bull Bronson. And you didn't whine and cry about it. You took your lumps and you learned and you went on. You know, it's called paying your dues.
I don't know that anybody, I'll be honest with you. It's hard out here today, especially around our area, the Mid-South area. I don't know that anybody, very few actually pay their dues like it used to be, man. You know what I mean? It's just, the business has changed. Look, I was gone for a while, and when I jumped back in a few years ago, man, it was almost like a different world in the dressing room than it used to be. Yes. I come up in dressing rooms where there were grown men in there. They were busting each other's balls. You were telling jokes. You were having fun. You were playing cards. You were pulling ribs. Sometimes you was even fighting. But it was
the ladies were one of the boys.
Exactly, man. And it was fun. It was a wrestling dressing room. So that kind of brings me to my next question, but we got a few comments. Let's get these. Mark's back, and he said, I had a great time at Osceola and AHCW. Aaron Smith says, kids don't want to listen and learn. They just want to get their spots in. And that's a true statement, man. It's it's a spot fest most of the time. And all the old things with wrestling that have worked ever since wrestling's been into existence, still work to this day if they're done right. They still work. Still, Danny. And Mark McGee's back. He said, I need to get to y'all's area and watch y'all live and hang out talking about y'all, Danny.
Come on, man.
So
we're going to be in Paris next week. Well, this coming weekend.
So you mentioned Dwayne Cashman. Now, I know here recently, about a month ago, you and him had a match for the Inhumane Championship Wrestling Heavyweight title. So talk to me about how that match, what went down, Danny.
I loved it, man. I had a blast. It was a 30-minute Iron Man. And basically, what is he, 22, 23 years old, something like that? Mid-20s, I think. He's a young man. Here I am. I'm 48 years old.
Right.
And we went out there, and in my opinion, we tore it up, Buster. You know, not patting ourselves on the back or anything, but we showed that you don't have to do 30 minutes of spot after spot after spot,
right,
in a match to get a match over and make it mean something. And I was truly honored to do that match with him, and I'd do it again any day of the week, man.
You know, we had the show, a podcast actually booked for that show, and I actually was going to, you and Dwayne were both going to be on the same time, yep. And I was actually going to, kind of the first time I'd ever took two guys and done a face-off with them almost. Kind of let y'all go back and forth and promo each other and let each other know what was going to happen that Saturday night, man. I hated that we didn't get to do it because I was super looking forward to that. I thought it was going to be awesome, man. Hyomania, y'all just did that in Paraguay, this past Saturday, or was it Friday?
It was Friday.
Friday.
So
see, I had to look to her for the date.
Hey, that's why you need her there, man. Dude, hey, years of chair shots and bumps to the head, man, you forget stuff, dude.
Easily.
So, Hyomania was put on with the show was actually Inhumane Championship Wrestling, but it was put the whole festival. It was part of kind of a festival thing that was put on by Santiago Carrillo, right?
Correct. He was Julio on The Walking Dead.
Right.
Really close friend of ours, brother. We love dearly. He put that on. What was it? Scared City. I think this was the second one that he done, and he did say that night that there was going to be a 3. So
Okay.
he's hoping to bring Hyomania back again next year as well.
Well, so talk to me. How was it? I know they had a festival. We were chatting lightly right before the show started, and you said you kind of walked around the festival. Y'all obviously had wrestling that night. So talk to me about the festival itself, man, and how it was, because I really wanted to come to that thing. I'm a big horror movie fan, stuff like that. And me and Crusher even talked about it. I really wanted to come, but I just couldn't.
We are horror fanatics ourselves, but I myself, I was walking around the complex there where all the horror movie stars and everybody was, and all the vendors, and I just had to stop and watch the 60-some-year-old Asian woman doing the Michael Jackson impersonation. I mean, that was just awesome. I mean,
Right.
It was he looked just like Michael Jackson, and the performance was on point. So I just had to stop and check that out.
I hear you. That was worth the price of admission on its own, huh?
Well, I mean, yeah, it would have been for anyone that had to pay to get in there.
Right. So you got lucky on that when you got in free, man. There you go, dude.
Hey, those talent passes, they do a lot.
There you go. Look, Aaron Smith's back with us again. He said, maybe one of these days, old Cowboy and Danny can work a program to show the young'uns how it's done the right way.
I would love that. I would love to go back to the old days with old Cowboy Tony Starr.
So let's talk about that, Danny. Let's let Linzee get in here a minute. Now, Linzee, obviously Danny's outspoken, but I know you've got some things that you're kind of got your goat a couple of times too here recently. I don't remember exactly what it was, but me and you actually had a messenger conversation about doing this podcast. So what was going on? What was on your mind?
Well, I'm getting into psychology. I learn something every time I'm in a locker room. Every time.
Right.
I've only been in a little over 2 years, but I'm also very observant. Like, I observe everyone and can pretty much, let you know something. If you were heel, I understand, like intermission stuff, you go out, sell your merch. That it wasn't that. If you were heel, whether it's a wrestler, manager, whatever, keep your ass in the back. Like, you can't go out with the fans.
Being buddies.
Yes, and then go out and expect to be taken serious, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like,
no, you are 100%.
I mean, it doesn't matter
on
who you
point.
are. I'm not pinpointing anybody. I'm not calling, I'm not, it's in general. That's just me. Like, I've been, I'm sure people have said I had no, I should not I have no room to put my input in. I've been in the business 2 years, almost 3 months now, 2 years, 3 months. And I notice stuff like, and although I don't say it out loud to others, we'll be on the way home or something. I'll be like, did you see this and this? And of course, he doesn't catch half of it. So then I'm having to explain this whole thing. And
I've learned to overlook the bullshit.
Danny, dude, since I've kind of popped, like I said, the business, half of it is like alien to me now compared to what it used to be. And I've said those exact words. I said, look, I've had people, me and people have the same conversation, and I said, look, it is what it is. I can't change it. Nothing's going to change it, I don't think, now at this point. If you're going to be in the business, you just got to do the best you can. And like you said, ignore the bullshit most of the time, man, because it is.
I guess I'm being taught the old school way because, you know, I've been around a lot of people, and I just, like I said, it goes back. I'm not saying anything about the heels who go out to sell their merch. They, you know, that's nothing to do with it.
Hey, I'm going to say it for you, girl. I'm going to say something. Back in the days, first of all, back in the days, heels didn't get to sell merch. Second of all, if you do have merch, and I understand heels needing to sell merch because obviously ain't nobody making no money around these shows to talk about. So a lot of times the gimmicks is how you make your money. But as a heel, you don't never go out in front of the crowd until your music hits and you go through that curtain. If you want to sell merch, you have somebody out there sell it for you. You bring somebody to sell it for you. Back in my day, you'd get your ass fired. And I'll say my day like I've been around since the 70s. I'm talking about the early 90s. You would literally, a heel, back then, you walk out into the fans and try to mingle, your ass would be lucky if you didn't get fired when you hit the dressing room. You'd definitely get an ass chewing. Heels should stay in the dressing room, period, Danny. I know you got an opinion about that, man.
I've got a huge opinion about that. I know a group of guys that they usually work heel where they go, and they do it right in order to sell their merch. And I'm going to give them a shout out because you need to have them on sometime. The Dark Age.
Dude, I've been thinking about that.
Those guys, they do it right when they're out there at that table. They're not out trying to become best friends with the fans. They're not out trying to pick up some chick out of the crowd. Right. They're out there doing their job, trying to make a few bucks. A lot of these guys, though, they run around, and girls, they think it's okay to run in and out of that curtain, in and out of that curtain. Buster, when I was breaking into the business, if you did that, it's like you said, your ass was done. You know, there's a guy who speaks on a lot of stuff, and he does it almost daily. He makes posts daily. I got a hell of a lot of respect for him and anything that he says. Damian Wayne.
Right.
Hell of a talent, hell of a veteran, knows what he's talking about. And if half of these kids would read the stuff he says and take it to heart and apply it, they'd be in a lot better place.
Well, let me ask you this, Danny. Here's my theory on that. I don't think most of these young kids being brought into the business have been brought in a totally different way than we were, dude. Not like it's totally different. It's nowhere near the same. And I don't believe half of them even understand a lot of the stuff that he talks about and other people talk about, old veterans. I don't think they even understand that they're doing this.
Days are gone, man.
That they're doing this the wrong way, dude. I don't even think they understand it. And here's the thing. Even a baby face, go out during intermission or before the show, sit at your tables, take your pictures, sell your gimmicks. But once the show starts, keep your ass in the fucking dressing room. Do not go out. Look, you don't need, I feel like the mentality a lot of times now is these wrestlers feel like they got to go out here and mingle with these fans and make friends with these fans to even get them to show up. They feel like that's how you get them in the building. You got to go out and befriend them. No, how you get them in the buildings, working your ass off and putting on killer wrestling matches. Look, and great shows.
I don't care how good of a baby face you are and how buddy you are to the fans. If you don't have a good heel to bring the heat and get you sympathy, they're not going to buy a ticket anyway.
Right. Yeah. I believe that 100%. Wrestling's built on heat. Without heat, it don't even exist. It's a waste of time, you know. And here's the thing.
Nobody knows what heat is anymore. All they know is shut up, shut up, shut up.
God, dog, man. Look, I was trained that you get your real heat. I get my real heat as a heel off of what I do to my opponent in the ring. Not jawing with the crowd. I'm not saying you don't, every wrestler does it. Somebody says something, you can be in the ring, somebody says something smart, pops off. I'll do it too. I'm liable to spit something back at them real quick, but I still get my real heat off of what I'm doing to my baby face in the ring. That's how you, here's the thing, that's how you get the baby face over. That's how you get real heat too. Anybody can elicit a reaction out of a fan by going out and calling them fat or telling them they don't have no teeth or they stink. That's the easy way out in my eyes, Danny.
Look, it's like this. People think a heel's job these days. The young guys and girls think a heel's job is to get heat. That's not the heel's job. The heat will come naturally if you know what you're doing,
right?
And if you're being a heel. The heel's job is to get the baby face over. That's the only job the heel has, is to get the baby face over. That's it.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you on that, man. I agree 100%. And look, Lindsay, just because people think you shouldn't have an opinion, you're in the business. You got an opinion. You've got a voice now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that you should down every sword and down every heel, because from the way I look at it these days, you're going to be falling on swords all the time. Pick and choose your battles of what you want to say. But just cause, and look, here's the thing. Just because we said ignore it, we still noticed it. So some things you just, nowadays, some things, I see it every show I go to and all the time. I see something that would have got somebody fired 20 or 25 years ago. You'd immediately been gone. They'd have had your bags outside, already thrown them out, and they'd have had the door waiting on you, and boom.
Don't even ask for an envelope. You're gone.
You're gone. It's just simple as that, man. Look, Aaron Smith is back with us. He said, gone are the days of fun road trips to the shows, psychology, and of course, Rizats. Yeah. I mean, let's talk about that for a minute, though, Danny. Here's the thing. 25 years ago, women were half the audience.
They were. They really were.
Now it's all guys. It's all dudes. 90% of it's dudes, and what ain't dudes are the wrestlers' wives and girlfriends. Let me ask you something, Danny. If you was a young, in shape, good-looking baby face,
wait a minute. Now, I'm not old.
I do. I'm still winning.
Check out the new beard.
Dude, I'm winning. I'm still winning that race, though. You 48, I'm 50, man. I know how it feels to be old, dude. I'll tell you. But listen, if you were a young, in shape, look good, pretty baby face, even if you were married or had a girlfriend, what do promoters used to tell you to do?
Take your damn shirt off and go mingle with the girls.
And tell your wife or your girlfriend this is part of the business. Truthfully, we don't even, back when I broke in, they didn't even, Moondog, he didn't even want none of these fans, none of these women fans to know that his good-looking baby faces even had relationships, because
Moondog Spike is another one who taught me a lot.
That's what draws them in. That's what draws them in. They come because they think there's an opportunity, whether there is or not. They believe that, so they come to the show and they buy the tickets. And nowadays, I don't even see no. Look, if you go pick up a woman at a wrestling show nowadays, you can bet your ass it's somebody else's old lady or girlfriend. I mean, it is, dude. It just is, man.
It's sad. It's sad. Listen, it's back in the day. I used to do a lot of work for Tojo Jr. when he was running Renegade Pro up in Metropolis, and Tojo used to tell us on a Friday night. You know, he did his regular show on Friday nights, and then we'd do a big hardcore Saturday night on Saturday night. It was every Friday and Saturday, right?
Okay.
Well, we'd do the show on Friday night. Tojo would look at us heels and he'd say, "Look, I want y'all to go to the bar tonight." I'm like, okay. He said, and he'd look me square in the eye and he'd say, "Iceman, I want you to get in a fight." I'm like, "What?" "I want you to get in a fight." I'm like, "I don't want to go to jail, Tojo." He'd say, "Just call me. I come get you. Call me. I come get you. You get in fight. Don't get your ass whooped, though."
Right. Right.
You know,
That's the old Bill Watts method right there,
you
man.
go get in a fight. Here comes Hojo bailing your ass out of jail for getting in a fight. And then the next night, all those guys you was in a fight with are there with their entire family buying tickets.
Exactly,
Because they want to see you get your ass kicked.
Yes, they don't do none of that. Hard. Look, when I first broke into business, me and my brother, after we got trained, we were kind of sent to Don Bass in Jericho,
Donnie,
Arkansas.
gosh, I love Donnie.
That's
another one that taught me a lot.
To kind of get us, put us out in the ring and kind of help us along and kind of teach us. And we never did it. We were going to run a show in our hometown, and the first thing Donnie asked, he said, "You are we're taking a hard way." And I'll be honest with you, I was so fresh in the business because I trained well, but they never really smartened us up. Like you kind of had to get smart on your own, and I didn't even understand what hard way was, Danny.
Right.
He said, "Look," he said, "What do you think about getting a hard way?" I'm sitting there, I'm like, Mr. Bass, what's a hard way? You know what I mean, Donnie? What's a hard way? So he said, look, he says, what we'll do is we'll set up a meet and greet, or back then they used to take guys to Walmart. And they'd sit in Walmart, sell some tickets, promote the show. He said, what we'll do is we'll set it up somewhere there in your hometown. He said, we'll have somebody attack you. He said, we'll have them punch you in the eye for real. That way it really turns black, swells up, and then you're walking around for a few days before the show with that black eye so everybody can see you. And I'm like, dude, I loved it. I thought, hell yeah, that is, to me, I was like, yes, that's awesome, dude. I'm all for it. We never did it because we never ran the show there, but that's one of the first things he said, and I don't think they even think like that anymore.
I mean,
I do not think they think like that. And here's the thing. Nowadays, ain't no promoter going to tell you to go get in a fight, especially if he's got to bail you out, because he don't even really want to pay your ass nothing.
Right.
Much less, it's going to cost him more for your bail than he probably going to pay the whole roster that night, you know? And it's just a different mentality out here, dude. It's just totally different.
It is. They... Like I've been saying, everybody's gotten soft,
right?
And people are afraid to speak up, and that's my question. You know, I only see a handful of veterans speaking up about anything that's going on. There's only a handful of us saying anything. You know, everybody else is just sitting back, letting it slide. And I'm not saying we need to police the business, but maybe we need to take a look at what's going on, you know, and it leads into another subject of promoters and bookers that can't seem to get along with other organizations. You know, we could really grow the Memphis area from Memphis all the way to Nashville, take the entire western half of the state and make West Tennessee wrestling the best it's ever been. If everybody pull their head out of their ass and put their ego down and learn how to do business.
Dude, give it a year. Give it a year or so. Give it a couple more years. There's something going on right now in the wrestling business in the back of it that's the idea, period, is to open wrestling up. It's just like you said, the biggest problem is getting these promoters to come on board with it and realize, hey, this is how territories are created. That's how territories are created. Everybody talks about the NWA, but the NWA was a giant group of separate promoters that understood that we need to regulate our own self. And the only way we're going to stay out of each other's territories is we need to all get together. We need to set perimeters of where our territory is, where the next guy's territory is, and we all we might not be running conjoint shows and stuff, but we're all working to create 100 territories where wrestlers can move around and make a living at all the time. And
you know, people's always bitching there's no money in wrestling. There's no money in wrestling because they shoot themselves in the foot. That's why nobody can make any money, in my opinion.
Right, and there's too many too many. I'll be honest with you, Danny. There's too many wrestlers that shouldn't be even be in the business now. That's the big that
They're not
that's
wrestlers. They're cosplayers.
there's no gatekeepers no more hardly of the business of. It's easy to get in now. Hell, in 1992 when me and my brother started, actually we started in 91 looking for a place to train. Man, do you know it took everything we could do to finally get Jerry Jarrett's number, to end up trying to see if he knew anywhere we could train, and obviously they were training guys in Nashville, at the old fairgrounds. But man, it was like it took 6 months to even get a number on this guy or anybody. It wasn't like
when I was first breaking in, I went and they wouldn't even put me in the ring to train for several months. I was just carrying the ring in and stuff, and basically being a gopher, earning my keep to see if, I'd keep coming around and keep doing the work and putting in the work. And eventually, they told me get in the ring.
And that's how, dude. I believe it should be done that way. Even if you're a trainee, I think you should have to show up, set the arena up, set the ring up, have to stay, take the ring down, help clean up.
Oh hell, you're opening up another subject.
But that's how you learn
rubs me wrong, man. Rubs me wrong.
That is how you learn the wrestling business.
In the business. Set up and tear down. Sometimes we can't get there to sit up, because, obligations, real life.
Right.
But, we try to. My wife, the way I look at it is if she can do it, all the other newer people in the business can show up and do it. If I can do it with the years that I've put into the business, if Brimstone can do it, I'll even say, if Crusher can do it, hell, I'll even put Randy Bird's name out there over at TIWF. If Randy and John can show up early to get things ready for the show, rookies can too. Trainees can too, which I imagine they do there. I'm not saying they don't, but I'm saying if all of these older guys in and around the business can do this stuff, Buster, then why the hell can't the young guys do it? Why do they grab their bag and go as soon as their match is done?
Hey, I think it ought to be mandatory for the new guys starting out.
It used to be.
I think here's the thing. When the show's over, if I look around when it comes time, if I'm the promoter or booker and comes time to break down the ring and clean the arena and the rookies are gone, then more than likely that'd be the last night you work at my show. And if you did come back, you'd kind of get a lesson in the ring, I feel like. I'd put you in there with somebody who was going to kind of give you a little attitude adjustment in the ring. And that's something I don't see no more that was prevalent. Even still when I broke in, and I'm sure before that it was probably even worse. But sometimes you have to attitude check guys. I mean, it's just the way it is. Back then, you get a young guy come in. Moondog's favorite thing was, you got to watch these young guys. You bring these young guys in, they look good, and if you put them over immediately, a lot of them, it gives them the big head right off the bat. And he said once they get that mentality, he said you can very seldom ever break it or change it. He said it's just you want to bring them in and do them just like everybody else. I don't care if you got plans on making them a big baby face. Make them go in there and work their ass off. Make them pay all the same dues that everybody else should pay. It's just, I don't even know, dude. It's a changed business. And look, it ain't all just the boys either. It's the guys, these guys training these boys. If you don't go find you a reputable trainer, then you're doing yourself a disservice in the pro wrestling business. I just believe that. You're doing yourself a disservice.
They claim to love the business, but they're doing the business a disservice.
And look, I know WWE's booming now, but I'll be honest with you. The wrestling business is still slowly withering away. Every year it's withering away a little further and further. What happens when it's gone? Because here's the truth of that. They can say, well, the WWF will never be gone. That may be true, but the thing is, the WWF is something totally different now. It's a total different monster than out here, all these other companies out here running the different territories and different parts of the country. That's where you learn real wrestling, what really wrestling's about. That's how you learn it there, and you try to get over here to the WWL for WWE. You know, even a lot of their guys that because now they go and they find these athletes, real athlete, college wrestlers, college football players, basketball players, and they bring them in. And I feel like even though they're bringing them in the WWE, I still feel like they miss an important part of what the wrestling business is all about. You need to be out here working your ass off and being hungry. You need those years.
It's like the kid who drops out of high school and misses prom.
Right.
The indies is where you learn so much, and all these guys, I know even recently a young man who was offered a spot on a show. He's a rookie, less than 6 months in the ring. I think he trained 3 months. He was offered a spot on the show, and he didn't want to work the show under a mask because he didn't want to be made to look bad, because the promotion needed somebody.
Yeah.
Needed somebody.
You're shaking your head, but it's
Needed
legit.
somebody to take an ass whipping, and the kid didn't want to do it because he didn't want to look bad.
Yeah.
Nobody was going to know it was you anyway. Number one, it was going to be under a hood. Number two, it's a freaking work.
And first of all, does he?
How many times, Buster, have you seen me put somebody over without a second guess? It's a work.
More times than I've seen you win, Danny. And me and my partner, me and Ron McClarity used to tag team up. And here's something we realized. Damn, if I don't think we get over better losing than we did when we won sometimes. Most of the time.
Losing don't mean that you're not over. Look, I can be over just like I won by losing.
Dude, and I don't think they understand it. And obviously this guy has no idea what's going on in the wrestling business. The whole point of sticking him under the hood and the gimmick was so nobody knew who he was. Nobody knows. Go out there and do the job, get the experience, and help the other guy that's on the roster.
Guys that were going to be in the match that are 10 times better than you, so you can learn.
Here's the thing. I don't understand guys, period, wanting to get in the wrestling business and then worried about their win-loss record. That has astounded me. Even before I got in the wrestling business, I never ever thought about, was I going to win more than I was going to lose? I just wanted to be in there and be part of the show.
Hey, Buster,
part of cool shit,
you're
man.
hurting my feelings because I know my win-loss record. You want to know what it is?
What is it?
I've lost more than I've won.
That's mine too, dude. That's mine too, man. I feel like most people in the business have lost more than they've won.
Those that are willing to do business, yeah.
And that's part of the business. You're in the wrong business if you're really worried about a win-loss record, because do they even understand that win-loss record is a work too? Like, it don't matter. It does not matter at all. What matters is going out there, getting whatever you're doing over, giving the crowd a awesome show. That's all that matters. Whether you won or lost does not matter one iota. And it astounds me when guys break into the business with that mentality, because you do understand this is pro wrestling, right? This ain't MMA, this ain't boxing, this ain't whatever. This is pro wrestling. You're going to lose. It's as simple as that. That's just like taking bumps. It's part of the job.
You ever notice a booker will tell the guys in a specific match who they won over, and they tell them, okay, I trust you to figure it out. Just figure it out. Just him over.
Right.
I have 6 words when that's told to me before I even start thinking about how to start the match, what I think about, maybe where to go in the middle, and how to finish it. Okay. What's the business of the match? That's what I need to know. I need to know the business of the match. If I know the business of the match, I can get it over. But if you're just going to send me out there not knowing the business of the match and your vision and what you're trying to get over, that's on you at that point. But I believe every worker, when they're told what they're doing, they need to ask, what's the business of the match? What do you need me to get over?
I think that, I mean, obviously, I think the promoters ought to discuss that with their talent, unless you already know, unless you're you're upper echelon talent, and before you even get there, you and the booker already know. You already know what the plan is. Then when he tells you, hey, y'all go out here and do this, then you already know he's relying on you to do it. But yes, what are we trying to what is the goal of this match? What are we trying to get over here? And that's all it takes. Once we know that, then everybody's clear on what we need to do. Then we start putting it together. Let me ask you this.
If I know where you want to end up at, I can get us there.
Let me
I
ask you
don't
this.
need to know step by step. You tell me what the end game is, and I will get you there.
Right. Look, Danny, I see a lot of 50-50 booking nowadays. What's your thoughts on 50-50 booking?
I don't like it.
I don't either, man.
I don't like it. You know, they're
nobody can get over if everybody's equal. Nobody knows who the star is. It's just
nobody
as simple
knows
as that.
who the star is. Nobody knows. Nobody even knows who the babyface or the heel is, because you've got heels out here doing flashier shit than what the babyface is doing.
Right. Yeah, I don't get it. Matter of fact, I don't think 50-50 booking should even exist in pro wrestling. Period.
Nope.
About the closest you're going to get to 50-50 booking is Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart in the Iron Man match. That's about as close, and then still yet it can't be 50-50 because Shawn got the belt in the end. He went over. So it's more like 60-40 or 55-45 or whatever. But
I know. Bret's still whining about that.
50-50 booking, it does not work in pro wrestling. You cannot get nobody over when everybody's equal. That brings me to another question. I was brought in the business and I was taught that we dictate to the fans what they want to see. I feel like nowadays these bookers and promoters just listen to the fans, and the fans tell them what to show them. And that's to me that's ass backwards for the wrestling.
Whatever happened to eliciting a response, a desired response?
Right.
My job is to make you react a certain way, the way that I want you to react, not the way that you want to react. My job is to make you do what I want you to do.
Right.
I control you. You don't control me.
I agree with that 100%. Linzee, jump in here, girl. I know you got something else on your mind. You got a pet peeve, or you got something you want to talk about in the wrestling business? Bring it up and we'll talk about it, girl.
I mean, I can't think of anything right now. I mean, though, what I discussed earlier was my biggest one, because, but.
Babyface and heels seems to be her thing. Baby faces and heels. If you're a babyface, be a babyface. If you're a heel, be a damn heel.
And here's something else, Danny. If you're a cool heel, then you're actually a fucking babyface, man. It's as simple as that.
There's no such thing as a cool heel.
Exactly, right there. I feel like the NWO caused that. I'll be honest with you. I feel like that's where Scott Hall kind of was the first cool heel, I think, and that kind of changed everything, and it's never went back. The axis, it was kind of twisted on the axis, and the globes never came back to where it was supposed to be. After that, I feel like the NWO are the reason that everybody wants to be cool heels.
That's the thing, though. Everybody wants to be, instead of the booker telling them what they want them to be, what they need to be.
And like you said, there's no such, if you're a cool heel, you're not a heel, you're a baby face then. It's as simple as that. Well, look, I know you guys have got some shows coming up. Talk to us about what y'all got coming up, Danny.
Let's see.
I'm pointing to her.
Linzee, you talk to us about what's coming up, because I know he don't know. So
let's see. We have Nonstop Wrestling Alliance this Saturday, the 20th.
In Paris at the Henry
Paris,
County
Tennessee.
Fairgrounds.
Let's stop right there. I'm sorry, Linzee, but let's talk about Nonstop Wrestling for a minute. Dude, I feel like they draw some damn good crowds in Paris, man. Every time I see some footage, Like
They do.
really good crowds, like the building be packed, man. So talk to me about y'all, both of y'all, Lindsay, you too. Talk to me
Nonstop.
about Nonstop, dude. Talk to me about it.
Nonstop Wrestling Alliance, promoted by J.M. Knight. Jamie Phillips is the booker over there. Jamie, you know, Bad Boy Phillips, he used to run Old School up in Kentucky. Oh, was it Old School? Yeah, Old School up in Hardin, Kentucky.
Okay.
He wrestled for years and years and years. Now he's booking. He actually stepped back in the ring a couple shows ago. He's actually back in the ring now. For how long, I don't know, but it's good to see him back. But Nonstop is really turning it up over there in Paris. A lot of great things happening there. And we've missed a couple shows here recently because we've with real life and with being booked somewhere else,
Right.
on those dates. Because I'm of the mindset you can't stay in one area. You got to get out and about.
Right.
Kids today, they don't want to step out of their comfort zone. I'm trying to teach her to step out of her comfort zone. So taking these other bookings, and getting her that experience.
There you go.
But Nonstop is really they're doing big things over there. And I think it was before we went on the air. You mentioned Swag as well. We're going to be there on the 27th, right?
Next Saturday.
I got a big hardcore match with the hardcore champion Dustin Wolf.
I had Dustin on here a couple weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I actually had Dustin on, man.
It's probably going to be the last time you had him on when I get done with him on the 27th.
I like that, man. So do I need to send him some condolences now for the future,
You might as
man?
well send them now because that kid wants hardcore. I told him, I live my moniker, the original Suicide Messiah of professional wrestling. He wants hardcore. He don't get good old, I told him at the end of our last match, last time in Huntington, Buster, I said, you don't get good old fun loving Danny. You get to meet the Messiah. So we're going to tear the house up. So everybody needs to come out the 27th to Huntington at the Carroll County Civic Center.
It's actually going to be my first time meeting the Messiah because he hasn't
went that
been a while,
direction.
yeah.
Oh, I see. So it's gonna get rowdy in Huntington, man.
It's gonna get rowdy in Huntington, Buster, and Swag. I consider Swag home.
Right.
Back before I took several years off, December 6, 2014 was my last match before I took several years off and just came back a couple of years ago, about 2.5 years ago.
Right.
I was at the very first Swag show all the way up until the end of 2014, and I'm back at Swag now. Since I'm back, Swag is home. There's a lot of naysayers who have bad things to say about Swag, and they can say what they want about Swag. Swag is a different beast all of its own. Swag's not trying to be like everybody else. That's the thing. Brimstone has a vision, and that vision works, man. You've been there several times. That atmosphere is like none other.
It's like Swag almost has a cult following. Is the way I feel about it.
It reminds me of the old ECW.
It has a cult following, and you guys, Swag used to be in McKenzie. Now they moved to Huntington, and I see, man, the building. I ain't never been there in person, but when I see some of the footage, building's big, nice building, and from what I can see, man, Swag is starting to draw some really good crowds there, dude.
Swag is growing. Swag has a vision, and I'll publicly say it. I back Brimstone's vision 110%. That's my brother from another mother. I've known Brimstone for many years. Whatever he needs, he's got it. If there's a Swag show, I'm going to be there. I will not take another booking on a Swag show night.
Right. And you got another show, Inhumane's coming back when? When are they coming back to Corny?
Well, there's another Swag show and another NWA show, NSWA show in between there.
Is there? I think there's another swag show August 3rd. I know there's one the 17th that swag. Paris, I can't remember what day it is, but Inhumane, I think Crusher said August 31st was the next one for Inhumane.
Okay, well, look, Danny, let's jump back just a second. Let's go back to NSWA. And what do you feel like is the secret to their success, man? Because, like I said, they draw some big crowds in Paris, man.
Promoting.
One of the biggest key, promoting and talent, man. Good talent.
It's promoting. I mean, there's flyers everywhere. And Jamie being the booker, you know, and several of the guys also are from up the road around Murray, Kentucky, a college town, you know.
Right.
They're able to plaster Murray, Kentucky and surrounding areas with flyers, you know, and social media is great for promoting, but if you can hang up a flyer, that's more eyes on that flyer than you're ever going to get on a Facebook post.
Yeah, I believe that.
People get out and talk in the community, and that is a big key to success, in my opinion, in putting on a show. Look, I'm going to go back to when I used to promote Do or Die Pro up in Metropolis, Illinois. I would go out and I would promote the show daily. I would spend hours out there. I mean, 7-8 hours a day promoting the show. And opening night, I drew 417 people, Buster.
Right.
Because I was out for 2 weeks before that show, promoting that event. And we continued to draw throughout the whole time we was running.
Right. I feel like a lot of promoters, since the advent of the internet and Facebook, I feel like a lot of promoters have gotten lazy because there is no substitute for that card sitting in a gas station window or a business window. There's no substitute for going out and pounding the pavement and putting out the flyers, really promoting. Everybody now wants to create a flyer and click share, and they think, well, that's all they need to do. And no, the guys who get out and really promote, go out, they still draw crowds. AHCW in Missouri, they still put out real cards. They draw crowds. PKAW, they still put out, they go out, even though they promote on Facebook, they go out and put real cards up. I know I'm missing some people, but the companies who go out and they still really promote amongst the people, physical promotion, not just hit and share on a flyer, they still seem to draw really good crowds on a regular basis, most of the time, all the time.
You know, back in the day, if you wasn't promoting the show, you didn't get pushed.
Right. You know, and let me ask you this. Back in the day, you were, I don't even know if they still do this now, but sometimes you'd have shows and the promoters would give each guy so many tickets. Mm-hmm. And it was your job to sell those tickets. But if you sold those tickets, you got that's how you got your PO.
Yep.
Right there, by selling the tickets. And see, that incentivizes these young guys to go out and get off their ass and try to sell these tickets. Because, yeah, you can come to the show and you can have a match, but if you don't bring in your money, then you ain't getting no PO for the night, you know? And I feel like
that's the way it was.
I feel like that's part of paying your dues too, and that's also teaching them how to go out and really promote pro wrestling shows and how you get people in there. It's a network. It's not one guy going out and just doing one thing. It's everybody kind of pushing the show, whether it's word of mouth, whether it's selling tickets, whether it's putting out flyers, putting out posters. You just constantly got to be talking the show up, for one thing.
You do. And I'm not naive. I'm not overlooking the obvious. I mean, you know me. I've got a business mindset about everything. And let's be real. The economy does have a lot to do with ticket sales and professional wrestling. I mean, a daddy's going to pay his electric bill before he's going to go to a wrestling show.
Right.
I have seen over the years when the economy's great and everybody's making money and everybody's bills are paid, you'd have a packed house on a Friday or Saturday night.
Right.
You know, we used to run shows on a Tuesday night, and we would pack the house on a Tuesday night on a school night during the school year. But the economy was good, business was good all around, not just the wrestling business, and that does have an effect, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, if people will get out and promote and push and push and push, you know, and give the people something to come see, you know, the attaboy thing, the pat on the back. Stop pushing people just because they're your buddy.
Right.
You know, push the people that need pushed. That's going to grow your crowd, that's going to grow your promotion, and that's going to benefit the business.
Right. I'm with you 100% on that, man. And speaking of weeknights, man, I'll be honest with you. Back in the day, weeknights were a lot of times the better drawing nights, because back then, on Fridays and Saturdays, people were out doing other things other than wrestling. So I've seen some of the biggest draws during the week, some of the best shows ever during the weekdays, man.
I used to leave on a Sunday morning. I would go work a Sunday evening show. Of course, it was mediocre. You know, I mean, it was decent crowds, but I mean, it wasn't packed. You know, a lot of people were in church, wherever, this and that. But it was decent crowds. I would leave there. I'd go to the next town for a Monday show. Crowd picked up a little bit for Monday, even though Monday night was Raw and Nitro and this and that. Still, it picked up.
Right.
Tuesday night, man, place packed in the next town. You couldn't get another person standing in there, standing room only, and there wasn't no room left to stand. Wednesday night, same thing.
Right.
Go home on Thursday, wash all the gear, this and that, repack, head out again for Friday and Saturday, packed houses. Man, the only slow night that it seemed to be back in the day was a Sunday night where it was decent crowds, but it wasn't packed. But every other night of the week, it used to be packed, Buster.
I know it, man. I love working weeknight shows. It gives the fans something to do, man. Here's the thing. Obviously, especially in the summertime on the weekends, Friday night hits, everybody wants to go out and eat with their family. Saturday night comes along, everybody wants to get out with their family and be outside doing stuff. But during the week, all these people have to do is go to work, come home, go to sleep. So a 2.5 hour wrestling show in between that is perfect. They come to it. They ain't got to go way far off. They get there at 7,
They don't
7:30.
have to sit and watch reruns.
Exactly. I love weekday shows, Danny. I do, man. I always thought they were some of the best drawing nights, and nobody even tries running weeknights anymore.
Well, like I said, the economy, I believe, plays a role, where people are working longer hours, real life.
Right.
And the business isn't in good enough of a shape to support a living at the moment. So, what do you do? Everybody's getting in 7, 8 o'clock. Last night, I didn't get home till what? It was about 8:30, 8:40 by the time I walked in the door. And tomorrow night's going to be the same thing. It's just life right now. You do what you got to do. But I believe a weeknight show, if people were able to do them, would draw.
Yeah, I think they would too, man. I'm actually talking to a guy trying to get him to run some weeknight shows, and I hope it comes off, man. I do.
We've mentioned several promotions, and there's one that's tearing it up that we haven't even mentioned yet.
Spit it out.
You got Brian and Stephanie over there running Dyer, man. They are tearing it up over there. I've been watching stuff, when it gets posted, and I'm like, man, they're really doing it.
Dude, they got a show. Matter of fact, they got a show this Friday night in Dyer, Tennessee. The regular once a month show that they do there in Dyer at the fire department. Awesome show, man. Awesome show, awesome atmosphere. And dude, I'll be honest with
A
you.
lot of talent on that show.
Right, a lot of talent. A lot of talent on that show. And look, I'll be honest with you. I feel like they've had one of the best runs for somebody starting out a company. They have not had a bad show or a bad crowd yet, not one time, dude. I feel like I'm with you on that. They are. They're on a roll, and they bring in a lot of our best talent around our area, but they also bring in some of this other outside talent to work with these guys. And in turn, then their talent gets better and better every time they bring these more experienced guys in that's at a higher level. They put them in the ring with their guys. Their guys' level rises up more, man. They've really done an awesome job, Danny. There's no doubt about that. One of the hottest promotions around West Tennessee, bar none.
Yeah, there's several that I feel have a really bright future. As a promotion, there's several promotions, and Premier is one of them. There's just a lot of great talent, and one guy that I like watching work is Aaron Roberts.
Dude,
I like watching Aaron's work.
Man,
I'm just really impressed.
For a big guy, because he's a big guy, man. He's big. He's taller than me, so I know he's probably about 6'2", probably. And he's 25 pounds and can move. And knows the wrestling business. He's still young, but he's a vet. He growed up in it, been raised in it. He's been doing it since he was probably 14 or 15, professionally, out in front of the fans. He's one of those guys. He reminds me of Jeff Jarrett when he came back from WCW and went back to WWE after the Double J thing. One of the vignettes, Jeff sat there talking. He said, "Hey, I'm 30 years old, and I've got over at that time 12 or 15 years of experience in the wrestling business, and I'm only 30. I'm still young. I'm in my prime, just now reaching my prime." Yep. That's unheard of a lot of times. And a lot of these guys, especially around West Tennessee, dude, I've never seen so many wrestlers start out so damn young, Danny.
Yeah,
some of these, I mean, they've been wrestling since they was 13, 14, 15 years old.
I have to get on to her about her thinking about negative thoughts from time to time, because she's 34 years old. She says, "I'm just breaking into the business, yada, yada, yada." I said, "Look," I said, "you're the perfect age right now to get in and step right into the prime age of feeling good and able to really, really do something."
Right. Look at Diamond Dallas Page. He had been in the business for a while, a long time, but he didn't actually step in the ring as a wrestler until he was 35 years old. And look at the star he became as DDP once he got in the ring. So a lot of it's in your mentally. A lot of it's in your head. Confidence in wrestling is it's a must. It is a must in pro wrestling. If your confidence is low and you're feeling negative about yourself, it's going to show out there in your work. I see it all the time. D-Lo, perfect example. When everything's right with D-Lo and his confidence is high,
unstoppable.
You cannot beat that dude. He is badass. But when his confidence ain't where it needs to be, he don't have those same level matches as he does when his confidence is where it needs to be.
D-Lo needs to realize the genes that he has.
Exactly.
That's Kilo's kid, damn it.
Aaron Smith says, "I got boots at LOL." Danny, we're fixing to get ready to start winding it down. We probably got about another 12 minutes. Open forum. You, Lindsay, either one. You come up with the subject, man. What do you want to talk about, dude?
Well,
nothing's off limits, man.
Nothing's off limits.
Hey, except that picture you got of me with that goat, dude. That's off limits. Don't say nothing about that, man. Other than that, nothing's off limits.
It was a sheep, not a goat. But we won't go there.
See, I was drunk, man. I really couldn't tell, but it is what it is, man. I heard. Look, I did hear there was some little red-headed sheep running around somewhere in West Tennessee.
Well,
Man.
you know, I mean, they was going, Johnson. What's your name? Johnson.
So open forum, dude. What do you want
Man,
to talk about,
you
man?
heard her. You don't want to do that and give me an open forum. You know,
Dude, you got the open forum. Say what's on your
that's
mind.
called controlled chaos. You know.
Let's. I love control. I love controlled
Well,
chaos. That's what good pro wrestling's all about. Controlled chaos.
keep it a little PG. Well, man, look. You know, we basically touched on a lot of things. You know, that really grind my gears, so to speak. That really get me going. Um, but Tony Starr, Aaron Smith, he said it a little bit ago in the comments there when he commented. Nobody seems to want to listen anymore. Everybody's too damn hard-headed. They think they know it all, or they look at you and say, "Well, you're not my trainer." Well, you know, the person talking to you, kid, might not be your damn trainer, but they know a little bit more than what you do.
Right.
Maybe if you would sit down, shut up, and listen, you might learn something. But no, everybody's just too worried about getting their shit in.
I mean, you know, he's helped train me and stuff, and I listen to everybody that has an input. You know, what I could have done, what I should, you know, and take it into consideration.
T-Dog Dolliver, another young talent. That kid has come a long way, Buster. And you know, one of the things that I love about him, you know, he would travel with me quite a bit
Right.
back over the past couple of years, right? One thing that I love about that kid is like a damn sponge. He will sit in that car all the way 4 hours to a show, asking questions, talking, this and that, not afraid to ask the questions that most of these kids won't ask.
Right.
You know, if he don't know something, he'll admit it and he will ask you about it.
He'll ask you how his match was.
And then the first thing when he gets in the car, exactly. The first thing when he gets in the car, even if he was working me that night, how did I do? How was my match?
Right.
And we will sit and we will dissect it. Now, one thing that ticks me off, I guess you heard that, the cat knocked something over. But one thing that really bothers me is veterans that won't tell these kids what was wrong.
Right.
But what bothers me even more is veterans who only tell the kids what was wrong, but they don't tell them what they did right.
Right. Right.
Okay.
I agree with that, Danny. And I see that happen. I see that happen.
Don't tear these kids down to the point of where they feel like they can't do any damn thing right. You know, tell them what they did right. And then talk to them, you know, about what they could have done better. Not that you did it wrong, but you could have done it better.
Well, at least set them down and explain to them. Don't just get on their ass and tell them, you fucked this up, you fucked that up, you fucked this up. Tell them why. Explain to them why it was messed up and how to fix that, how not to do that again. I don't agree with the guys who just chew them out and don't offer no encouragement or no help. I mean,
a lot of it is, look, I can teach you to bump all day long. A trainer can teach you to bump. They can teach you to wrestle all day long, okay? But if nobody is teaching psychology and where to put that stuff, you're just getting a bunch of damn spot monkeys out there. That's all you're getting.
Right.
And I think that's a lot of the problem with the business today is nobody's teaching psychology. I've told a few people that I would love to help a promotion out. If they wanted to bring me in, I'll come in, put over their young guys, work with their young guys, and I will do, you know, I will do nothing but sit down and have a talk with the locker room, you know, the young guys and girls about psychology and teach psychology, Buster. Nobody's doing that anymore.
Right. I feel like guys, here's the thing. I don't know where the disconnect is, Danny, because I feel like I already, before I ever
Egos. That's where the disconnect
Well,
is.
before I ever
Egos.
even started training, I feel like I understood what wrestling was about. It's not about exactly what you did, the moves and stuff. It's about why we're doing this, what story we're telling. And what gets me is guys will go out and do especially young guys, they want to get every move or spot in they possibly can every match. And I'm like, dude, save something for next week, man. If you're working at a place where you're working weekly, and I see these young guys do it, and they go out there and they do everything they can do, and they come back, and in my head, I'm
Same
thinking,
match.
what,
Same
what,
match the next time and the next time.
what are you going to show these fans next week that's different from this week? Nothing, because you did everything you could do in one match. I used to let the psychology of what we're doing dictate what I actually did in the ring. I didn't just put spots together and moves together for no reason. The story we were telling dictated what went on in the ring.
Those 6 words, Buster. What's the business of the match?
Right, man.
Those 6 words.
I think you need to get a shirt with that on it, man. What are we trying to accomplish here, man? What's the goal? Because I
just want to get my shit in, man.
I think that's what it is. I think they just, I want to, here's the thing. I feel like the young guys now work for pops. They work, it's all, and here's the thing about wrestling.
But they're not working for the pops of the real marks. They're working for their buddies and the boys in the back.
Right. And I think they get lost in the fact that if you do a spot and the fans cheer, well, they think they're over. They think that was right. That don't mean you're over. You can make fans pop for damn near anything in pro wrestling. You can go out there and it's real easy to get the fans to pop. But a pop ain't being over. And pop's not getting over. Like you said, you got to make sure you got to get the pops where you want them. You got to bring them up, set them down. You got to build them to that climax so when the end of the match comes, truthfully, at the end of the match should be when you get your biggest pop, whether it's heel heat or whether it's the babyface getting over it and getting the pop. There shouldn't be a pop bigger anywhere in the match than the finish. That should be the climax. That should be
the biggest pop that I had ever gotten. I revisited it actually in my Iron Man with Dwayne Cashman. About 15, 16 years ago, I was working a guy named Zach Jones up in Illinois. Pretty boy Zach Jones. Harley Race was in the building that night. And you can imagine, the nerves working in front of Harley.
Right.
He was sitting at the announce table too, man, right there. And he was watching every little thing. We worked this match that night in such a way, we did not do anything big. I worked a headlock for 11 minutes of the match. Worked the headlock, wrenched the neck, this and that. Grabbed the trapezius muscle, went back to the headlock.
Right.
I mean, just, I was trying to pinch his head off, man. Finish, simple. He went up top, hit me with a cross body. 1, 2, 3. Biggest pop I'd ever heard, man, off of a cross body off the top rope. 1, 2, 3. Harley Race, the man himself, a man who I consider to be a true wrestling god, gets up out of his seat. He couldn't walk very well at the time.
Right.
Gets up out of his seat, walks around, walks up the steps of the ring, gets in the ring, comes in and shakes both of our hands and says, that was professional wrestling. So I was working Dwayne Cashman in Humane a few weeks back. We did that Iron Man. He worked my leg dang near the entire match in an Iron Man match, trying to make me tap out, trying to make me tap out, trying to make me tap out. I got a couple quick pins on him. 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2, 3 there, yada, yada, yada. Time limit ran out just as he was about to pin me again. So we went, fans started chanting 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes. I looked at him and I said, I'm going to argue with Linzee for a minute. I said, go up top, come off with a cross body. He went up top, kid flew through the air, come off cross body, 1, 2, 3, place erupted right there, man. That's all it took. It didn't take 15 super kicks, 20 Canadian destroyers off of the apron to the floor that should kill a man, like you see every Wednesday night, people taking them and no selling that shit and getting right back in the ring. I mean, come on, a normal man would literally be dead.
Dude, I hear young guys all the time, oh, that's that old shit. No, what we say in the beginning, all that stuff that's worked for the 100, 120 works, 20 years of wrestling, still works to this day. All that simple stuff still works like it always did if it's done properly.
And that's why I told the story of working in front of Harley that night and then 15, 16 years later doing the same finish on a different show with another guy, same response.
Exactly. And that's working. It ain't about, you ain't got to do 300 things in the ring. You ain't got to do 300 moves to get over, to get a match over, to get over with the fans, man. You got to tell them a story. I 100% don't believe nobody comes to wrestling matches just for the wrestling matches. They come because of what led up to this match. Why are we having this match? All the things got us to here. And then they're there because they want that conclusion. They want to see where all this is going to end at, what's going to happen. That's pro wrestling. That's the story. It ain't about the moves. It's not about the wrestling. It's not about how many moves you do. It's about telling a complete story to people that they can understand. Don't overcomplicate it, because nowadays a lot of shit gets overcomplicated. Everybody tries to be so clever.
It's a TikTok mentality these days, okay? People have a 15 to 30 second attention span. Okay.
Right.
So you don't need to draw it out and try to keep their attention and have a 30-minute match every night. Every match don't need to be 15 minutes. You know, I refer to it as TV time. Work like you're on TV time.
Dude, I'll tell you this. I don't think a lot of guys now understand work like you're on TV. I see TV that wants to have a lot of 15, 20-minute matches where it's 50-50 booking, and halfway through it, I don't care about either guy. I don't even care about the match no more. I'm like, okay, whatever. It don't matter. I'm
going to go fill my coffee cup. You know.
I got to take a piss on that one. Look, Aaron's back, and he said, and call the match in the ring. Dude, that right there is the art that's dying.
That's it.
And wrestlers can't ad-lib no more. It's like
I got a thing that I do, Buster. When a young guy comes to me and says, "What do you want to do? What do you want to do?" Well, I kind of mess with them a little bit. I'll look at them, and I'm like, "I'll let you know." It'll get to the intermission before our match. Okay, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? I don't know yet. Oh no, what are we gonna do? You know, I'll see them start pacing.
They're freaking. Yeah, they're freaking.
They just don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. Standing there, my music hits. You know, I'm the heel. I'm going out first. What are we doing? What are we doing? I said, I got you. I'll let you know out there. Boom, out the curtain I go.
Right, man. And you know that mug's asshole's puckered up tight because he ain't got no clue what's going on out there, what's going to happen. And that's part of the art. That's why wrestling's dying off slowly, Danny. Because
I'll tell you what you do. If you get a chance to talk to T-Dog Dolliver, or even if you want to just shoot him an inbox message and say, hey, if you ask Danny what are you going to do in the ring, what's he going to tell you? He will look you square in the eye, man, and he'll tell you, we're going to lock up.
We'll go from there. We'll go from the lock up.
Right. Lock up.
Right. Guys, it was my pleasure having you guys here. I know it took us 2 extra weeks to get here. I appreciate you guys making the time, giving me some of your time.
I kind of feel bad, man, because normally I don't miss a booking.
Well, I think both times was my.
Last time was me. Real life got in the way.
Well, I just, it was still me in the end because you still was like, yeah, let's go on with it almost, and I'm like, well, one thing I don't like doing is promoting till the last minute. And then at the last minute, when I got 36 links out, having to realize, then put out, well, the show's going to be postponed. So I feel like both times was me, but Go ahead, girl.
I think last week or whenever the last one was supposed to be, I think he did get in late, and so it was
like
probably
9:15.
Yeah, I think he got in
late.
So it was good. It was fate, man. That's what I was going to say. I'm a big believer in pro wrestling. You know as well as I do, pro wrestling's about timing. In the ring and everything outside the ring in pro wrestling, it's about the right time, right place. Tonight was obviously the right time,
Man,
right
I tell
place.
you how to get your timing right. Just take you a piece of double mint, and gum helps you keep your time.
There you go, man. There you go. Guys, I like I said, I appreciate both of y'all so much for coming on. I've had a blast, dude. And before we get out of here, if either one of y'all got any social media or anything you want to plug for anybody that might want to book you or anything?
Just hit me up on my Danny Ice Facebook page. Easy to find. There's the athlete page, and then there's the actual page. Of course, Linzee Wyld. Hit her up. Sometimes it's easier to book us through her because you may contact me and say, hey, can you do this? And it's like, sure, why not? And then she says, we're already booked.
Yeah.
But our schedule is pretty tight. I feel bad. John and Randy over at TIWF have been reaching out to me for my dates, open dates. And I keep having to put them off, because with the promotion on my day job and everything, right now my schedule's just jammed up. I'm working 2 Saturdays a month. And, I'm trying to stay local on those days. And then the other 2 Saturdays I'm booked out of the area. So it just makes it tough. I feel bad putting them off. So, hey guys, if you're watching and paying attention, I will get you some dates. Just bear with me and give me some time.
Hey, and their company, the good thing about TIWF, they're there every single Saturday night. I don't think they get enough credit for being there, running that show every single Saturday night. There's only a couple shows out there that are every week. I know of, obviously TIWF, MCW in Osceola, MIW in Middleton's an every single week show. And I'm sure I'm probably missing 1 or 2 here or there, but those are the 3, especially Osceola and TIWF, man. They've been doing this forever, and they're always here. So the good thing about that, Danny, is eventually you're going to get a Saturday open that you're going to be able to get there, man.
Yeah, it just makes it tough sometimes.
Guys, I appreciate it, and you guys have a great night.
You too, man. Thanks for having us.
Y'all take it easy. All right, y'all, you seen it right there. Danny Ice and Linzee Wyld. Like I said, Bonnie and Clyde of the wrestling business around here. He's an outlaw, and she's his ride or die. All right, guys, I want to thank everybody who watched. I want to thank everybody who interacted. We'll be back Monday with the EOG. Tyrell Miller and JT Williams. We're going to talk about them. They're the evolution of greatness. So they'll be here Monday night at 7 p.m. Look, guys, like this video, share this video, and go to Buster H.R. Johnson and subscribe.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I
had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.